I'm reading the Samsara of Life for the first time, and that last line makes me cry.
Oh, really? What's the last line?
And when your time gently glides to its horizon, with head unbowed in perfect poise, balance, and dignity, let them say you were a master who kept a regal bearing, did not complain, and left a worthy mark. Makes me think of my dad.
Oh. Why is that?
Because I think those are his leaving the worthy mark in particular. I think he wonders how that's possible. Like, what does that look like, a worthy mark? How does that manifest as his legacy, as he's coming to the end? He's 89 and has had lived a very good life. Short or long, every life makes its full circle. And when your time gently glides to its horizon, with head unbowed in perfect poise, balance, and dignity, let them say you were a master who kept a regal bearing, did not complain, and left a worthy mark. Do not let cynics and false experts shake your mastery. They choose to tear down rather than build up. Don't worry, they will not last. That gives me a lot of courage and hope. Because right now it feels like the tyrannists and they are kind of taking over, or to their best of their abilities trying to tear down so much. And how important it is to stay compassionate within that context, and at the same time hold true to your own values and not let the cynics pull you down, because it's cheap to be a cynic. Being cynical is easy and cheap. Well, I live with my father. I live with my mother and my father, and I see on a daily basis his struggle to remain relevant in his old age and to contemplate through conversations that we have, and of what does a worthy life look like. And this whole pandemic has really caused us to feel vulnerable, that we aren't relevant. And so to be able to stay relevant when you're in lockdown and not really being able to get out and see other people, and you're coming to the end of your life, it's a lot to think about. And I think the pandemic for my household has allowed us that downtime to really explore, to take the time, because we suddenly have it and we're not as engaged in other things. So.
Would it be correct to say it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise, maybe?
Absolutely, for a couple of reasons, besides the fact that we've had this wonderful downtime. But yes, because then, and we're all together in a family with this heavy reality of the pandemic on top of us, and it makes us, I think, much more grateful and awake to other people's suffering, certainly. And so our hearts I've noticed that my parents are talking a lot more about the suffering in the world, much more than I had ever talked to them about before. And I think our levels of compassion are expanding as we see on the nightly news all of the people that are suffering so much. So again, it is, what is that worthy mark that we're being asked of our legacy? I love the title Samsara of Life, and I've been through my studies with Eastern philosophy and my devotion to an Indian guru and studies with the Vedic literature. Of course, samsara is a pervading theme, and comes in the form of intentions and impressions that we bring with us as we go through life and incarnate into a new life. We have well, they're called impressions, and there's 3 basic categories of them. One is tamasic, the second one is rajasic, and the third is sattvic. And every person kind of carries these tendencies, and you can see them in yourself and in other people, where the tamasic is kind of a more slow and heavy energy. People who have more tamasic tendencies eat a lot of fast food, and they're just kind of getting along, whereas rajasic people are much more invigorated and ready to go out and conquer things and active. So it's the energy, the active energy that's in our systems, and then that food is related to like spicy food and a lot of a lot of energy in the food. Whereas sattvic food and tendencies is much more spiritual. So a sattvic person is more meditative and has achieved some level of spirituality and has recognized what's talked about here, the stillness that pervades your soul. So a sattvic person not only understands that there's stillness, but in times and at points in their life has possibly experienced that. So a sattvic person is very dedicated to a plant-based diet that's very nourishing, a lot of colors in their food. So that's my kind of experience with the word samsara. But I love how all of those kind of concepts of the tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic tendencies, I see them talked about throughout in the poster, or in your prose here.